We are in the era of build, baby, build. And it all has to get done somehow with massive spending cuts, deregulation, and debt reduction. Now, if you can accomplish that all without tariffs, I'm on board. And I'll be the first one in line to preach about it and push for it. But as I showed you earlier, our debt, trade deficits, offshoring, it's hastening the downfall of both the dollar and our entire standard of living in our country in the end. Now, these are the top 10 countries that we have large trade deficit with. China, $295 billion. Mexico, I mean, you can read these. It's pretty bad. India has $45 billion. China is still the worst, but it was over $419 billion before Trump's first term. Now, I wish I could say that things appear to be getting better, but most of those companies didn't come back home. They shifted to Mexico and Vietnam. Our trade deficit with Mexico was $70 billion at the start of Trump's first term. It's now over $172 billion. That's why he's putting tariffs on Mexico. It's not just the border. They can't leave China and go there. It's similar with Vietnam, $38 billion in 2017, now $123 billion. It's not sustainable. The same thing happened to the greatest empire of the world at the end of the 18th century, and that country was China. The result was two wars, the Great Opium Wars, and it had everything to do with trade deficits. China have a name for that era. They call it the century of humiliation. Now, this is not economic jingoistic mumbo jumbo. Too many dollars going out, not enough money coming in, breaks empires. And it has happened that way over and over and over again. Speaking of China, a 90-day truce has been called, slashing tariffs for 3 months while we work on an agreement. Now, are the Chinese blinking? Let me show you what's actually happening in the lead up to China when they come to the table. You ready? Chinese factory activity tumbled to a 16-month low as tariffs shattered exports from China. The 6 largest banks in China reported a $1 billion profit drop. Unsustainable. Chinese workers now have begun protesting in China over unpaid wages because they can't pay anybody because nothing's coming in. The pressure is actually working. China had no choice but to come to the table. That's what the president said, and it works out. Now, did you see how China made preparations before meeting with the Trump administration over the weekend? Their central bank lowered rates and injected liquidity into their system. What did our Fed do? Jerome Powell? Nothing. They kept the rates the same and then yelled stagflation like Chicken Little. One side is trying to win this. I think there are too many people on the other side that are sabotaging because they believe in the Great Reset the other way. The global financial system is headed towards a major reset, and we need to become the smartest people in the room when this subject comes up. That means you and me. We need to be watching things like treasury yields. Oh my gosh, does that sound boring? We need to be watching gold prices. We need to be watching what products are actually coming back home and which ones are running to places like India, Mexico, and Vietnam. But we also need to understand how we got here in the first place. The global economic system has undergone multiple great resets all throughout history. And every time one happens, we take a step closer to the dumpster fire that we are currently standing in. Let me take you to the chalkboard in just a minute. We start now with the deep dive into the biggest financial con game in history. I don't know when they figured it out, but they know now. It's a long story, but all throughout history, there have been multiple economic great resets that have pushed us to the edge of financial cliff, and it explains exactly how we're at the place we are now. From Bretton Woods to the World Economic Forum, the latest scheme, every step has been deliberate to move control of your money, your freedom, your future. Okay. Now here's the potential good news. We're at a crossroads right now. And the Trump administration is the only one that is recognizing this and giving an option. It might be the last hope for a real great reset, one that doesn't enslave you like the one pushed by the UN, Davos, and progressives, but one that will put you back in charge. So let me just show you the history. 1944. We come out of the war, 45, and everything is fantastic. I mean, America rules the world now. And everybody had sent us their gold during the war because they needed our armaments, they needed our planes and everything else. So we're sitting on a giant pile of gold. And we decided to tell the rest of the world, cash is king. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep all the gold, but we will give you cash if you base your whole economy on the U.S. dollar. So it was $35 per ounce tied to gold. All currencies were pegged to the dollar. We printed money and we ran trade deficits and we started to bleed gold because some countries were demanding that they had gold and we were also selling gold, and it got to be really bad towards the end around 1971. In fact, got so bad. Did you even know that France had a navy? France sends their navy, their warships, to the harbor of New York City, and they're like, give us our gold. And we're like, that's funny, you and a warship. But we actually gave them their gold because they demanded, because Nixon, it's called the Nixon shock, Nixon in 1971 decides Bretton Woods no longer works. Why? Because we wanted money for the Great Society and we wanted the money for the Great War and that war machine. So we decided we're gonna have everybody's currency float here. It's not going to be on gold. Well, that's when everybody was like, oh, we will get our gold because your money is going to be worth doggy poo-poo. And so we knew that it was over. The game was over. That's why we went to the Saudis and said, hey, would you guys peg oil to the dollar and make sure everybody has to have a dollar to buy oil? And they said, sure. It's going to come with some strings that you're not going to like later. But we started printing money. We had huge deficits and we were chained now to debt. Then the collapse comes 2008 to 2014, the great collapse and quantitative easing. What is that? Money printing. No, we'll never print money. Yeah, well, you did. You just digitized it. Money printing, debt, trade imbalances. Now look at this. So what happens? Printing money, trade deficits, huge deficits, trade imbalances. You see what all of the negatives, they're all building to one thing, where we're at now. Then COVID and the WEF, they had already put into plan by 2016, 2017. They were working hard on the Great Reset. So we came up with stakeholder capitalism, not shareholder, stakeholder. If you don't understand this, just go read one of my books on the Great Reset. But they were tying all of this, not to this problem. They were saying we had to have a Great Reset because the sky is going to be set on fire and all our trees will drown along with us in that fire because of global warming or whatever. They were using this instead of telling you the truth. And they were pushing towards digital currencies, debt, trade deficits, and serfdom. Okay, now here we are at the new era. To solve this, what did I tell you earlier we needed? Trade imbalances, we need to stop that. Debt at 36 trillion, we have to stop that. Fed manipulation, we got to stop that. And dollar needs to reign supreme. Okay, so this is really where we're at this point. The things that have happened over the last 80 years, 90 years, two things took a major steroid shot: debt and trade imbalances. Okay? This has to change. It's a new era right now. A Great Reset is coming. And we have a real shot to deliver a Great Reset, the one that I think, and honestly, if we weren't playing politics all the time, I think everybody would say that's the one we deserve. The one that puts the people in charge, not these elites, okay? The one that puts America first. I want you to put your country first, but we have to put ours first because we have to downsize and make sure everything is local. So we have to solve 4 big issues, and the models show that trade imbalances and debt will rapidly contribute to the economic Armageddon. Trade imbalances have to be addressed. Has nothing to do with jingoism and pride. We have to solve this. The debt crisis, $36 trillion and growing. What is Congress doing? Nothing. The manipulations from the Federal Reserve have got to be fixed. I don't know how this is ever going to happen, but we don't survive, another 2008-2014 QE bonanza. We just don't. And the dollar has to be reigning supreme. This means the dollar that is currently operating, it operates strategically, not based off of massive money printing, or fueling inflation, trade deficits, but off of strength and actual value. Now, this is what we have a real shot of accomplishing now, but we have to be the smartest people in the room when this comes up. We want the smartest people in the room, and I think we have them in Washington, right? Working on this, and I don't include Capitol Hill as that, but we need the smartest people. But we have to be we have to be able to explain this to our friends and defend it. We have to be able to demand this and be able to explain it to our friends and neighbors so they can demand it. And when the dust settles, hopefully, we will come out better on the other side.